non-vocational education, we definitely had what's called as job-oriented course, something called as a JOC. I'm talking from an Indian perspective now here. We had job-oriented courses those days. So a few people would definitely go in there. Skilled workers, they used to come out, join the Navy, join the armed forces, join the railways those days, join the mining industry those days. Quite a lot of them used to go to the mining industry. So this was something that started off with that. Later on, the government definitely looked at what's called as industrial training institutes. Industrial training institutes was, I would say, the version 2 of JOC. It's slightly more science into it and more of art and the skill part of it. So that's how it was. We had ITI. Even today, ITI is a very big education ecosystem around the world, I would say. And then we had what's called as diploma. Diploma was a one level below the pure applied science or the engineering, what we say, or one more medical sciences. So we had diploma in, let's say, electrical engineering, diploma in the similar kind of a thing. The ITI was slightly more expanded. We still have ITI in fashion and technology. We have interior design. We have today we have newer things called aircraft maintenance, the MRO kind of a thing. Then we have Android systems, repair and maintenance of Android systems, repair and maintenance of industrial automation systems. These are some of the skills that are required. They don't need much of the science behind it. All they need is to know the art of it. So we are looking at the art of it, not the much of a science today. And that is what the world today requires. We hardly get carpenters today. We hardly get a painter today. We hardly get people who can sew very well and bring out the best of the dresses. We don't have interior designers today. It is only the civil engineer or an architect doubling as that. So this is the kind of a skill set that we are looking at. It is not out of place if I tell you, some of the big companies today have taken out engineering as the basic degree that's required for entering into their company. They said as long as you're skilled, which is fine, you could be a data scientist at it, you could be a data scientist, you could be what are the newer areas that you are looking at. If you are good at that, it will be front-end web designing or server management or database management, testing. So we have a huge lot of areas that are there which are split into smaller areas, which makes it much more interesting for vocational education to be interesting. Okay, now India from 2013 looked at this vocational education in a much different perspective, better for us, good for the whole country and the whole world, I would say. For a simple reason, one of the reasons why India really looked at pretty seriously was there was no movement of skilled labor from India to other countries, because our industrial training institute diploma or the ITI was not that to an extent recognized anywhere in the world, excepting a few much necessitated Middle East hydrocarbon industry. There wasn't much of an industry which recognized that. The government of India thought about it and came up with what is called as NSDC Corporation, National Skill Development Corporation. Here, under this, they set up what's called as a Sector Skill Council, SSCs. This is similar to the Scottish or the British skill management system. We have Edexcel. So this NSDC was in line with what the Scottish vocational system was, or the British system was. We have Edexcel, the City and Guild, which are pretty popular and much accepted and acclaimed around the world. So NSDC thought of this, and we have this Sector Skill Council as of today, and which is the certification at the end of it is pretty much recognized around the world now. So that is the system that we have today. Vocational education is the much needed aspect of today. As I said, the world needs sailors, the world needs aircraft engineers, the world needs operation theatre professionals, the world needs physiotherapists, the world needs fashion designers, the world needs sound engineers, The world needs filmmaking and gaming effects professionals. So we are looking at a huge chunk of people who would be required in this industry. And from this perspective, I would say it makes very good sense for the Indian education system or the education systems around the world to look at vocational education as a very serious proposition. Companies should look at vocational education as a very serious proposition. We can't be now learning, as I said, the Snell's laws or the Bernoulli's principles or the other principles of mathematics and science. Rather concentrate on the skill. I would be good at, let us say, as a EV vehicle mechanic. That makes it very interesting because the whole world is going into EV now. Or I could be an ophthalmologist, not from a medical perspective, but from a point of sale. We have so much of ophthalmological shops around, and we have smart boys and girls who are doubling as ophthalmologists, checking our eyes. So these are the kind of people that the whole world needs. The world needs this. The Central Board of Secondary Education have very rightly from last year has said that one of the subjects from class 9 should be a vocational subject. We have entrepreneurship, we have National Cadet Corps, that the NCC, people getting into NDA. Then we have a whole list of these vocational courses certified by NSDC and the Sector Skill Council. Now, let me tell you how the Sector Skill Council and what is this vocational course all about. Now, I'll tell you now. Now, the vocational system is set up something like this. We have at the bottom most layer, we have what is called as an NOS, National Occupational Standards. And each of them has got fire and safety, personal hygiene, the shop floor management and things like that, along with the actual skills required, the computer skills or the actual skills of, let's say we are into animation, or let's say into digital design and things like that. So coloring and things like that. These are called NOS. A group of NOS is called a QP, that's the qualification pack. And this qualification pack might have about 5 to 6 NOS or more than that. So once you are clear with these NOS, that you are deemed to be at a particular level, let's say particular level in the sense I would say level 5. Level 5 is equivalent to diploma. It starts from level 1, which is class 9, to level 9, which is at the PhD level, at the post-doctoral or the doctoral level or the post-graduation level. So that's how the level goes. So each level. So once you are in a particular QP and supposing say you want to move to another career where you need to have or take up another QP. If that QP has certain common NOS, you need not have to take those NOS at all once again. You need to have look into the NOS of the other QPs for the other NOS of the new QP. So you are deemed at the end of it that you are a competent person in one QP and also in other QP. So you have multiple qualification packs, which makes it much more interesting. That is the real skill that you would be putting on the table. Once you are in engineering, let's say I'll take an example of engineering itself. Through the engineering, the first year I might take, let's say, carpentry as one of the qualification pack. The second year I might take milling machine operator as a qualification pack. The third year I might take up CNC operator as a thing. The fourth year I might take web design as one of the QPs. So at the end of engineering, at the end of the fourth year, not only will I get an engineering certificate, I also get a host of qualification pack certification where I put on the table and says, I am a data scientist, I am a machine operator, I am a carpenter, I am a sewing machine operator, I am a cutter, I am a fashion designer. So that makes interesting. Not only that makes interesting, that is what the industry needs today. So this unfortunate incident of coronavirus spread and the gap in the sudden education system that we are having, that the whole world is locked down and made us to sit at home, has given us this opportunity. It is time that you people who are in the education scenario, who are in the education segment, who are in the education ecosystem should look at it, or in the school ecosystem should look at it and see to it that you include vocational service, or look at it. If you are a CEO or if you are a decision maker in your company, you should really look at how you should employ vocational people rather than a full-fledged engineer or a diploma holder. That perhaps would make interesting, and the government in its part should also see to it that they do that. A taxi driver cannot be a taxi driver unless he gets a qualification pack in, let's say, driving standards, or a chef in a hotel will not get his chef license unless he has a qualification pack in the hotel and hospitality industry. Unless the government makes it mandatory, the ecosystem will also move. The industry, you people, will also should look into it very seriously and make this vocational education very, very important and the much sought after area. I think its time has now come for us to move away from the conventional learning of mathematics, science and social studies and language to a vocational system. Thank you very much.